Alright guys, today I'll be reviewing Candymonium at Hershey Park. This is the B&M Hyper here, and I think it is very overrated. A lot of people say this is one of the best B&M Hypers, and in my opinion, it's one of the worst, if not the worst, and I'll explain that in this review. So to start off, it looks great at the front of the park. You got that Kisses fountain, of course, and everyone sees this. It's 210 feet tall. Everyone wants to go here first, so everyone lines up here first. Do not do that. If you don't know what to do, come back around 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, somewhere in that range. This is called Candymonium Dead Time, and usually the line is less than a half hour here. On a day when Candymonium got up to a 2.5 hour wait on my last visit, I only waited like 20 minutes during this dead time. But I only got one ride on it during that dead time, and then I came back at the end of the night because most people were gone. But I do feel like 2 rides were all I needed to know this was definitely a lower tier B&M Hyper, and in my opinion, the worst one. So the theming, it's pretty non-existent. I'm not gonna lie here. The trains look cool, I guess, with the different Hershey's candies. And then the station really doesn't have a whole lot. It has some lights kind of on the stairway, which is cool, I guess, but you're not getting much here. So you're going to start up that lift hill. It's a pretty fast lift hill, I would say. It's not Sky Rush or I-305 or anything, but it's fast. And now you're going to head down this first drop. I think it's kind of lackluster compared to some other first drops. I definitely think the 3-seater Fair Hypers have the best drops out of all the B&M Hypers just because of the staggered seating trains. I feel like those give a bit more airtime. But this drop's fun. But I'd actually take Nitro's drop over this too, and Apollo's Chariots. So this means it's the worst drop out of all the B&M Hypers I've done, which I know a lot of people love this drop, but me personally, I don't think it's very good. And then you're going to head into another bit of an underwhelming element for me. Really, this whole ride's a bit underwhelming for me, but the 5-second floater hill. Yes, this delivers 5 seconds of floater airtime. Keyword floater. It's not very good airtime at all. You barely come out of your seat. And it's kind of sad because, yes, it's sustained. It's big. It's fast. But it's so weak. I was left wanting more both times on this hill. And I remember it being the same back during Candyland in 2021. You're then going to hit a hammerhead turnaround, and these never do anything for me. You'll also get your picture taken here, which, I mean, cool. I don't know why they do it after the 5-second floater hill, because it's not very strong in my opinion. I feel like they should do it after the speed hill, which is my favorite part of the ride. But regardless, this hammerhead turnaround doesn't pull much force at all. It's kind of just there to turn you around, which is every hammerhead turnaround to be fair, but still, nothing too crazy here. You're going to head over another hill. This one is definitely trimmed. You are going to get very weak floater airtime over this one. Again, it's sustained, but it's very weak, all right? You're not going to get strong airtime on this ride. But after this, you're going to hit the best part of the ride, in my opinion, the speed hill. It's definitely stronger than the rest of the airtime moments. I'll give it that. You'll get sustained, stronger floater airtime, I guess. I don't think it's as good as like Orion or Leviathan speed hill, but it's still definitely fun. It'll pop you out of your seat a little bit for sure. And then you're going to head up this upwards helix. This really doesn't pack many forces. It's really there to set you up for the next element. So, as you can see, there's a lot of kind of filler on this thing just to turn you around, which this is not the last filler element on this coaster, that is for sure. But after this, you're going to go through the last good element on this ride. It's this twisted drop-off. Almost reminds me of an RMC kind of. Or like, Zadra's turnaround after the first drop. You hit that speed hill, and then you go up this top hat looking thing, and then it has a sideways ejector airtime moment coming out of that turnaround. This almost reminds me of that thing on Zadra, but obviously a lot worse. It's a lot smaller, and you're kind of crawling at this point Yeah, this thing does not have very good pacing at all. So you're going pretty slowly through this. You'll get an okay pop of airtime and a little bit of laterals. It'll definitely throw you to the side a little bit, but not much. And then after this, the ride's absolutely over. You have another trimmed airtime hill that does little to nothing. And then you have the turn around the Kisses fountain, which, again, it looks cool off ride. And on ride, I mean, it's cool looking at the Kisses fountain, but this helix does absolutely nothing. Like, you thought the other turnarounds were forceless. No, this is a forceless turnaround. Then you head up into another airtime moment that's barely an airtime moment, head into the brake run, and then actually get a little bit of like a surprise, like lateral jolt coming through this turnaround off the brake run into the final brakes, which is kind of weird. I wasn't expecting that. But then you hit the final brakes and you'll probably stack. I didn't see them usually double stack, but it can happen. And I just think the blocks are kind of weird on this, how they have, I mean, that set of brakes after the Kisses fountain is technically the mid course, which is really weird because that's a little late in the ride to have that. I would have liked it if maybe they had it after that drop off the helix there before the twisted airtime moment. That way they could send out a train earlier, but that's a minor nitpick. This ride is very smooth. You're definitely not going to find a rattle on this, which, I mean, it's a B&M Hyper. I wouldn't expect anything like that, but there's a couple that are a bit rough, which I'm personally not bothered by that, but I know some people are, so I definitely want to point that out. Then you also have the classic B&M clamshell restraints, but these unfortunately have seat belts. They don't take away too much because they're retractable, but still it kind of sucks that you have seat belts. They're very comfortable, but honestly, I take the Skyrush trains over these ones right next door because, I don't know, the B&M trains are a bit freeing, but after riding Skyrush and getting on this, I almost feel trapped on this because just you're so exposed on those wing seats. I kind of wish more manufacturers, including B&M, would do something like that. I'm making it sound like I don't really like this ride. Don't get me wrong, I still really like it. After all, it is a B&M Hyper, so it's still got a good sense of speed, even though it might not be quite as good as some others. Something I will say is the setting's a little lackluster compared to some others. Apollo's Cherry, it definitely has a better setting. And I'd even take like Behemoth or Nitro's setting over this. I'm personally a big guy when it comes to setting. I'll take setting any day over theming. And it's a little disappointing that they kind of just plopped it down in front of grass, but oh well. They couldn't really do much anyway. In my opinion, I think you can definitely take someone who's new to coasters on this thing. It's a graceful ride. It's butter smooth, so it's not going to scare anyone away from roughness. It's tall. It's fast, but I mean, someone who's new to coasters, they're going to get off this thing and they're going to say, oh yeah, that was a fun time. Like, you definitely take someone on this before taking them even on like Fahrenheit, in my opinion. And I'd say Comet is definitely more extreme than this. Comet definitely has better airtime. Skyrush obviously has way better airtime. Storm Runner and Fahrenheit off the top hat and Beyond Vertical Drop have better airtime. I mean, it's weak airtime. I really wish it was stronger. And for that reason, for its final score out of 1,000, I'm giving it an 853, which isn't a bad score. I still definitely like this. I'd ride it every time I go to Hershey, but it's not something I'm dying to ride. It's like, if I miss it, then, oh well. If this and Comet, for example, have a similar weight, I'm definitely going to Comet. Or this and Fahrenheit, I'm going to Fahrenheit. But it's still my number 5 in the park, which, again, is a lot lower than some people. But I like this ride, but it's definitely one of the most overrated coasters I've ridden, in my opinion. And it's definitely the worst B&M Hyper that I've ever ridden. But that could change with rides like Raging Bull, potentially. But let me know what you guys saw of this review down in the comments below. Do you agree with me on Candymonium being one of the most overrated coasters ever? Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.